We got this Offset album, and it kind of struck something. It struck a conversation in my head as far as artists. I really feel like artists need to consider the route that the Migos took as far as breaking into the game as a group. You know, I think now that everybody has split, everybody is putting out albums, you know, solo projects, and really breaking into their own, doing their own press runs and all of these great things. I think artists need to really look at this as a template that they could potentially follow. You have two other artists in your city that are working, and you're working, and y'all all doing your thing. Instead of everyone being solo, consider actually, instead of just collabing on the song and just doing the song or doing the song, consider putting, you know, like minds together, and maybe if not even forming a group, forming some sort of like record label or team or management, whatever, because three bodies is better than one. So the promotion that
I don't know about that.
You don't know.
I don't know.
What's your perspective?
All right, so from a resource standpoint, you know, talent, bringing all that stuff together, that sounds beautiful. But from a people standpoint, like, you gotta remember, Migos are brother, sister. I mean, they all brother cousins. Yeah, they you know what I mean? They all real relative, really been through it together. And then a lot of these other groups, right? You can look at Destiny's Child, you can look at Pussy Cat Dolls, you can look at, I don't know, Boyz II Men, B2K, all these groups. These other groups traditionally are not necessarily family, but they've been brought together by like a third party entity, like a manager put it together, something like that. So,
right.
It still gives them a camaraderie against something. But just to bring like three random people together who like now have to get on the same page.
But I'm not saying random. I'm saying if y'all in the same city, and you in a city of 20,000 people, you know what I'm saying, and there's only so many people popping in this city, and you one of them, and you close with the other two, who's number 2 and number 3, or number 3 and number 1. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying a lot of these artists are going around having these relationships, but because of ego, they would never go further.
That's the problem. I have a hard time thinking that artists will be able to get over their ego. Like,
what I'm telling artists is that could be the difference between staying local and becoming more than that. Because when you
encourage it, I agree with you. If you can do that, I think it's a great thing to do. I'm just saying it'll be hard. That's really what my take is. Like, it's very hard for most people to have that level of emotional intelligence, because there's when people saying this person's better than that one, let shit like that get in their head. You really for real, like you just really got to know what's up and stay on the same page with each other. And everybody has to be like some real. Y'all just gotta be real type people.
Yeah, because even like MMG, for example. Now that's not a group, but it's 3 guys that, you know, Ross put 2 guys together, and you had Wale and Meek Mill, and these 3 guys really musically did not have. You didn't foresee before that these guys would have any chemistry together. You know what I'm saying? But Ross pretty much formulated a situation to where if Ross is hot, everyone's hot. And then when Ross isn't hot, Meek is probably hot. And if it's a case where Meek and Ross is probably not hot, then Wale is probably hot. So then that kind of made everybody hot, regardless of anything. And I think a lot of artists just like, yeah, I understand, you know, you want to keep things internally and you have your friends that like you do things with, but a lot of times in life, your friends might not be the people that you need to be working with, or solely, at least. They're not the people that you need to solely be working with. And a lot of artists, they're around, you know, they only want to work with the guys that they went to high school with, or the guys that, you know, instead of like reaching out to other guys that they may be able to join forces with, especially if they have a common goal, you know?
Yeah, hey, look, and check this out. Like, if you're a manager or somebody, maybe you see this group of friends or something, and you like, yo, these people are dope. Let me turn them into a group. Like, you know, they already cool and they having fun. Let me put in the resources to blow them up. As a matter of fact, remember, that's basically what Jermaine Dupri did with Chris Cross. Like they were already just like some cool ass dude at Greenbrier Mall. They weren't rapping or nothing yet, but
right.
This allure where girls were coming at him, they were popular, and Jermaine was like, "Yo, I'm gonna turn this into a group." Like obviously he had certain resources, but still that's the same formula. Like, so maybe you find something that already has some energy around it, and then hey, you just package it up to become something else.
Right, and that goes right back into like that real boss mentality that like an independent artist would kind of need to have ingrained in them to really like be successful. I feel like you kind of have to take that idea, like it's deeper than just like writing a song. You know, you might have to give a song to the popular female in your city, you know, and put her under a management contract. Like that might be the way you get on as an artist. You know what I'm saying? But if you're so trapped in the artist mentality, you'll never be able to make those type of moves and accelerate your career.
Yeah, that's real. You wouldn't even think about that. Those, yeah, you're talking about some chess moves right there.
But a lot of artists are so trapped in this narrow, like write song, put song out, bang. Yeah. Like if anything, if I work with another artist, if anything is the feature, it's never any idea past that, you know, like.
What's wrong with being Safari, bro? Safari winning.
Oh, man. So
that's what I was saying, you know what I mean? Hey, you know, he helped Nicki in some kind of ways. I don't know to the capacity, but you know, that Nicki success allowed him to have some success as well. And they put in the work together. I'm not saying, you know, their situation is a little bit deeper than that, but you know what I mean?
Safari's a funny dude, man. So I really
he got talent, you know what I mean? He's winning in his own way. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what people miss, because some people are like, this person isn't the it person.
Right.
Like, what I hate is a lot of people who are at 0 hating on people who are at level 80 because they're not those people at level 100. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Yeah, like elitism.
Yeah. And it's like, how you going to be elite when technically they're further along? You would actually like to have their level of career. There's a lot of people, artists, that would like to have Safari's level of visibility, right? Or like to have a few of these other people that might get called whack or corny or something like that. You would like to have their level of visibility, connections, and maybe money or whatever. Yet you're where you are, and you're hating on their situation where you really could be stepping back and saying, you know what, how did that happen? Because I don't necessarily like their talent or care for their talent, but strategically, the way they got where they are, like that might be something I can follow. Like, stop. Yeah. Everybody can't be Nicki. Everybody can't be Beyonce, Jay. You know, there has to be different positions. You know what I'm saying?
What it is, I feel like a lot of artists have too many preferences. Like artists have mad preferences on how they find success, and because they have preferences, they close doors and close opportunities off, and they really narrow their opportunities to like only a few ways that they could actually obtain any success. And instead of just like learning from everybody's story, they just learn from like the one artist they want to be like, and that's just like the only story they know, and that's the only path that they know might work. So instead of like you said, watching the Safari, and okay, I don't want to be like Safari, but let me figure out what he's doing that's making these numbers, or let me just figure out, like, I don't like Riff Raff, but he's doing something that I might be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
honestly. I got a whole spiel I could do on Riff Raff. I've been watching, like, I got a lot of respect for some of the things that I've seen him do, bro. But that's a whole nother video, a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, man.
Quick, I want your opinion on. This is related. We can cut this into something else if we need to. But you talked about Steve Stout, the whole conversation with, you know, talent and fame. Offset, you brought up Offset in his Breakfast Club interview. He said himself that he feels like good content, substance is coming back.
Yeah, right? He did say that. Yeah.
He did that. So that kind of relates into the talent conversation. And do you think that this wave truly is going to come back around?
Man, that's hard to call. I hope it does. Do I think it will? To some capacity, but I also think to some capacity it never left. Now I think by come back he means like mainstream, like to be the thing that's cool. And I think could happen. I always said what would need to happen is there would need to be somebody really young. Like there would need to be like a really young Kendrick who like just like controls the kids younger than him. So if like Kendrick was 19 and then everyone who's like 12 and up is like wants to be like him, I feel like that's how something becomes like the thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like Good Kid, Mad City came out like 8 years ago, like a minute ago. So it's like, I think it could come back. I do think there would need to be a wave of artists that we probably never heard before, who really like show up and be prominent in like the next year or two. But I think it could come back, but I do think that would need to happen, because if it's not new artists, who now would it be that's making it popular? Because Drake, right. you know what I'm saying? Like who would it be right now that's making it popular? Because like
I think the wave is, so it has to start with people like Offset and things like people like them. Because when you think about the fact, if you got people like them saying, all right, that's not cool no more, or I had to switch back up, right? It starts to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you got some of these other people who look up to them on that side, and they start becoming more content-driven or substance-driven. And then, like you said, though, the big influence, the big impact, they will be like some young folks that the young folks are trying to be like. I could see that.
And then sure. I think like what the bigger impact would be is like more classic albums, because I do think like music hasn't took it. I don't think music was ever better before or in any other, you know, decade or anything like that. But I do think this era has more hit records, and I think the era of the 90s had more classic albums. And I think a lot of the reason is because artists paid a lot more attention to like bodies of work versus now. Like if you're not being lyrical, there's no reason for you to pay attention to a body of work, because nobody's digesting what you're putting out that way. Maybe on day one or week one, but that's really going to be it. And then people are just going to pick what song they like. So I think the J. Cole.
We got to talk decades, bro. We got to have a whole conversation on that.
We can talk about it, man. You look at the 90s, man. The 90s was kind of ridiculous, bro. Like, you just look at, like, there really wasn't a year where, like, it wasn't kind of ridiculous. Like, every year, it was, especially in hip-hop, bro, it was ridiculous.
I think kids might feel like this shit's ridiculous, though, at the time. Like, I think, like, the classic albums versus hot songs or hit songs is an interesting take. But I'm going to do some... I gotta take some thought and put on that. My guess though, what I'm gonna find is I feel like there might be more songs that were like semi hits, but like hit out of there classic hits. Like I think there was probably still more than 90s. And then the 2000s, you say music wasn't better in one decade than another. I don't know. 2000s was kind of a wash, bro. I mean, it was great at the same to go through it and experience it, but like when we say Wayne was the GOAT of his era, but like Wayne was like, there was like nobody. It was like Wayne and nobody.
Wait, in the 2000s?
Yeah,
you bugging. You bugging out. In 2000.
No. Let's to the argument though. You had T.I., Jeezys, and all these people moving out there, and they were killing it. Yeah. Kanye, but there was nobody in that conversation. Like when Wayne said it was a GOAT, there was nobody disputing it. And like nobody like challenging Wayne. Everybody else was just in their own lane, getting their money, doing what they do. You know what I mean? Like only thing you had might maybe subcategories like T.I., I'm the king of the South, and then Battle for South.
Well, I think Wayne was just at a level of aggression that people didn't really know what they would really do to compete.
It was a wave, and it was too late, so they just had to. Was out there. Just like Nicki. Nicki was like, it's funny, like Wayne and then Drake and Nicki. Drake was out there alone for about 2 years, maybe 3, at a certain level before Kendrick and J. Cole popped. And people don't understand what that head started to do. And then, of course, you already know Nicki had like 8-10 years before somebody was you know, on her level in terms
Yeah.
of pop commercial success that could even look like a challenger.
Yeah. The thing about Wayne, though, Wayne kind of blew right as 50 kind of started like dropping off. Like it almost felt like we had like kind of traded in 50 for Wayne, because like
that trade stuff,
because like 50 was just like he controlled everything, and that 05 it was like, all right, the Massacre, the movie, he's still the man. And that 06 was like Wayne, and that 07 was the year Wayne went bonkers. But 50 was still in the picture, but then he lost to Kanye in 07, and then 08 was like, all right, Wayne is just life, you know, and then Carter 3.
Yeah.
And then, mind you, this whole 50 era, this whole Wayne era, Hove is always relevant. He's the president of Def Jam. He's putting out Kingdom Come. He's putting out American Gangster, the movie. He's doing mad features, Amy Winehouse, this and that, Beyonce. Yo, that's why Hove is the greatest rapper of all time. But that's another combo too, man.
Yeah. We're gonna have a whole one of these specifically dedicated to that.
Yeah, man. But